So we might be seeing ICE operations go the way of National Guard. If you'll remember, a number of federal courts basically stood up and stopped the National Guard from deploying to certain cities like Chicago and Portland, and then shut down actions in Los Angeles. And recently, I believe it was today, Illinois and Minneapolis, or Illinois and Minnesota, both filed a lawsuit against Department of Homeland Security, alleging that there were violations of the 10th Amendment, which is states' rights, arguing that they were taking states' resources, like all of the police that have been required to help prevent an escalation in the situation in these areas where ICE agents have been operating. Attorney General from Minnesota, Keith Ellison, even mentioned that this is like a foreign invasion with poorly trained agents. And Trump's words are even being used against him, where he has attacked these cities, calling them sanctuary cities, and threatening to cut funding and all of these things. This lawsuit has painted it as a partisan attack on these cities, trying to create strife and chaos inside of these cities. So what they're doing is they're looking for an emergency injunction to stop immigration operations inside of these states and these cities for the moment, while a decision can be figured out. So hopefully that's what we'll get with the judge that it goes to. I can't remember what court it is, but what they'll be looking for is the emergency injunction to immediately stop. It will then go to a couple of rounds of appeals as well, and you can bet that this government will push it through until it gets what it wants, or it gets completely shut down. This is one of those things that may go back to the Supreme Court, where they may decide what are states' rights, like how much can the federal government reach into states with federal forces, especially in cases where you have a number of incidents which have violated the law, and warrantless arrests. That was also mentioned in the lawsuit, harassment, intimidation, all of these things. So I don't expect, hopefully the emergency injunction is right away and there may be a pause in operations, but I don't expect the appeals to finish anytime in the near future. You would hope for that pause while the appeals are taking place. But again, this is what happened with the National Guard, where they were never really allowed to deploy into Portland or into Chicago because the federal court stopped them. So this may be another opportunity where they step up and protect these cities. And again, Trump and this administration did follow those court orders. They did pull back from those deployments and trying to use the National Guard in those cities. So I wouldn't expect that to change, even with his own private army that he is creating. Accountability, especially arrests and prosecutions of individuals like Jonathan Ross and others for what they're doing, that would be the next level. Because now you start to work on the inner motivations and the psyche of the ICE agents themselves, who are like, oh shit, I'm actually going to be held accountable, so maybe I should stop doing what I'm doing, or get another job. It won't be all of them, but it would be a fracture if they start being held accountable. And if courts come out and say you cannot cross this line when it comes to these actions. I know that there are a couple of bills that are being passed or pushed up in Congress right now where you can't have any actions without warrants, you can't wear masks, you have to wear body cams, all of these things. I don't know if the Republicans will get behind that, to be honest, because you can't count on them to do anything that's actually correct and just. But those bills are being pushed, and hopefully with enough incentive, then potentially they will. But I think this is a good step. Protests to continue, video evidence of all of these individuals. The recent release of like 4,000 ICE individuals and their names being dumped. Fantastic. Like, create that database so these people can be held accountable. Once again, I am trying to get in touch with somebody on the inside of ICE. He and others like him are not digging the way that this is going. They were there way before this started, and they started recruiting these hooligans. So hopefully that will take place. This would be a question and answer where I produce questions, they produce answers. It would not be a face, it would not be a voice. It would just be what their responses are, because I'm going to protect the identity of anybody that is on the inside of this organization who is trying to get the word out on what it is like on the inside and what they are thinking. So again, there are good federal agents. They're good people in every organization, and some of them are being hijacked. And moments like this is when some people, start to push out information about what's going on the inside, and we need that. But there are absolutely hooligans. There are absolutely Nazis running around in some of these cities, and this is where we help the courts hopefully stand up to their end of the bargain and stop these people from violent overreach on behalf of a Nazi pedophile government. Okay, thanks.